Next, we have Kathleen Schuler with the Healthy Legacy Coalition.
Thanks for inviting me. It's great to be here. So you heard about the toxic chemicals that are in electronics. So on the road to zero waste, we need to reduce the burden of toxic chemicals in the waste stream. So we need to get them out of the products. Healthy Legacy, as soon as I find my slide here, Healthy Legacy is our statewide coalition. We have 35 members, and we work on strategies to get toxic chemicals out of the waste stream. One of the things that we do is we try to pass state policies. We also try to pass federal policies, but those are a little harder. So at the state level, we've passed bans on mercury in products and bisphenol A and formaldehyde and toxic flame retardants. We also work on promoting green chemistry, which is designing safer products in the first place. We also want to work with businesses that want to do the right thing, that have a vision for getting the chemicals out of their products, for protecting consumers, for protecting the environment. And we work with various campaigns to push retailers and manufacturers to design safer products. And they use green chemistry as a tool. So looking at the product life cycle, green chemistry comes at the very beginning. It's figuring out how to design safer molecules in the first place, looking at the toxicology of a chemical and how it might affect human health and how it might affect the environment. Is it going to be persistent in the environment? Is it going to be toxic to wildlife or to humans? So business leadership comes with looking at the manufacturing and the design phase. There's a lot of businesses that have substances of high concern lists. For example, we've got retailers, Target and Walmart, that have lists of toxic chemicals that they want to keep out of their stores. Perkins & Will is an architectural firm that has a list of 25 chemicals that they feel need to be considered when you're designing infrastructure to keep these chemicals out of buildings. So there's businesses that have a vision for doing this. So Ray Anderson, who has since passed away, but he was the CEO of Interface Carpets, and they were trying to figure out how to make a carpet that didn't adversely impact the environment and didn't adversely impact the workers that made the carpet. They have figured out how to do that. There's also different companies that get moved by consumer pressure. So in Minnesota, we banned BPA in baby bottles, but the market pressure on that and on BPA in water bottles has resulted in the fact that all those products are safe now. All of them are BPA free. So we need to keep up the market pressure so that we can push these companies to do the right thing. And one recent success is that large home improvement centers like Lowe's and Home Depot are phasing out toxic phthalates in their vinyl flooring. So we also need to consider the consumer side of it. So when we're using these products, we want to make sure that the products are safe so they don't create toxic exposures for us, and that when we dispose of the products, we're not damaging the environment. So what we're finding in Minnesota now is that a lot of the chemicals that are in products like bisphenol A and phthalates, we think, oh, well, they're going to go away. Well, they don't. They go into the environment. And we're finding them now in Minnesota surface water and in wastewater. One way to look at this is through a cradle-to-cradle approach. And Amanda kind of alluded to this a little bit. So the cradle-to-cradle is an approach that mimics the cycles of nature so that nothing is wasted. In cradle-to-cradle, the production of all material inputs are recycled back into the product. So there's the biological part of the waste cycle. So for example, if you have a compostable cup that's made of corn, that's compostable. There's also the technical part of the cycle. So if you have a heavy metal that's in an electronic, that needs to be recycled back into another product instead of going into an incinerator or going into a landfill. That's a little bit different than cradle to grave. So cradle to grave is where the producer takes responsibility for the waste, whereas cradle to cradle is it's recycled back into a new product. And extended producer responsibility actually incorporates both of those concepts. So in cradle to cradle, what they want to do is instead of doing less bad, they want to do more good. And one example is Shaw carpets, where they have a nylon carpet that they can recycle back into new carpet. So I only have a couple seconds here. And one of the things that one of the questions was, what are the things that we need to deal with? We need to recycle our waste. So when we recycle paper, BPA and receipt paper ends up in the waste stream and ends up in the toilet paper. So that's a solution that we need to work on together. Likewise, the flame retardant foam, much of the polyurethane foam has toxic flame retardants in it. And when we recycle it into carpet padding, we're putting that back into a new product. So we need to work on those solutions together because when we tug at a single thing in nature, we find it attached to the rest of the world. Thank you.